This video is on the medical system, behavioral health in specific, and how bureaucratic BS stands in the way of people getting help. For starters, much of the evidence that I have is electronic. In order to get the help that I need to get someone to take a look at that evidence. And many of the people who have offered to help have not looked at the evidence nor done anything with it. They felt that telling me what to do and how to think and how to feel was help. This is overwhelming because I needed people to look at that evidence. I needed them to help me to find an outlet where I could show that evidence. Now, when you're suicidal, there's a reason. Maybe it's because you don't have the money. Maybe it's because you're homeless and victimized by the police. Maybe it's because you are being harmed physically, mentally, or sexually. But when it comes down to it, you can't tell law enforcement that you're suicidal. In a situation like mine, you have to lie. You have to tell them that you aren't. If the situation changes, if you're speaking to a police officer or going to these services to try to get help, obviously you would rather get help than commit suicide. But the help that they give you is not help. First of all, they take away your electronics. They're not going to look at them. Taking away your electronics prevents you from, number one, speaking out, number two, recording the things that they do. And number three, reaching out to people who might be able to help, which makes you more frustrated. The things that they do nationwide to help are the same. It doesn't matter if you're in Tacoma, Washington, or Bristol, Virginia, or Chesapeake, Virginia, or Boulder, Colorado, or Rawlins, Wyoming, or Scottsbluff, Nebraska. They're all the same. Every one of these places use the same bureaucratic model. What is this model? Well, first of all, the taking away of the electronics, but also they have control of the telephones. They have control of your communication. They control who you can speak to and who you can't. And they assert this control until you are so physically and psychologically tortured that you lie to them and say, "No, I want to live. It was all a big mistake." When in reality, that environment made you more suicidal. More determined that when you get out, you're gonna do something desperate. For me, not willing to kill people, I go a different direction. But the tactics in those places include fear tactics. I grew up in the system. I know what happens when you tell. When you tell on them, they do horrible things. They talk down to you, first of all. They talk to you like this, like you're a 5-year-old. They start off talking to you like that. And then you have to remain calm at all points in time. You have to speak like this at all points in time. Pretend everything is okay at all points in time. Or they start pretending like you're a bad person, like you're out to hurt them when you speak to them in the same tones that they speak to you. If you're going to talk down to me like I'm a dog, don't play victim when I talk down to you like a dog. I need help. I need someone to look at that evidence. In these medical places, they say, "We can't look at the evidence. We're not police officers." But when you go to the police officers, they refuse to take a look, and they say, "Well, you're suicidal. We can't help you with that. You need to see a behavioral health specialist." So literally, there is nothing you can do but be tortured by a system that is set up to utilize you as meat. Your existence makes rich people money. There are many, many healthcare professionals that I have encountered since Natalie disappeared who agree with me on this. But they also need their jobs. They have to side with their coworkers. When you're scared and you start speaking in a tone that shows that you're scared, instead of understanding that you're scared, and you tell them outright, you're scaring me. You are scaring me. They threaten you with drugs. Even if you're calm, you say, hey, I'm calm. I don't need you to put drugs in me. Meanwhile, it's not even a doctor there to do anything. It's a nurse who doesn't care. Doesn't care about you as a human being. And then you have these psych technicians. What are these? They are babysitters. The last place I was at, well, many of the places I was at, I tell these people, you guys are babysitters. You don't do anything. You're not professional. You laugh at these people who need help. You make jokes about them needing help. And you tell them they wanted it or deserve it or brought it on themselves. And they didn't. They were trying to get help and they got locked up for it. Incarcerated without a day in court for it. So you are taught to lie. You have to lie to these people because their system is not going to help you. So then they come in with their drugs and you say, hey, these drugs don't work right in my system. You don't want to do this. I'm scared. At this point, if you're bringing people in to hold me down, to put these drugs in me, you're going to deal with the fight or flight mechanism. This is not assault. At this point, you're bringing in extra people to assault this human being who is trying to get help. But you're refusing them the help that they need and doing things that are more harmful to them, both physically and mentally. By holding them down, by assaulting them 6-on-1, and when they defend themselves, then you charge them with assault and say, they assaulted me, they assaulted me. No. Even a rabbit, when backed into a corner, this is a vegetarian. A rabbit is a vegetarian, and even a rabbit, when backed into a corner, will bite. This is a fact. So then you've got a patient who is trying to tell you that those drugs aren't going to work right in their system. And they're scared. They're scared of these drugs that you're going to put into them. They need actual help. They need someone to look at this evidence. The police make excuses why it's not their job. The medical community makes an excuse why it's not their job. And all of them do everything in their power to prevent that from being shown. Not one medical facility that I've been to has taken a look at the evidence. They just assume that you're in the wrong. They make jokes about it and laugh and smile, and it's hilarious. And then, same thing with the police. You try to show them what's going on. They assault you, charge you with a crime, take that evidence, never look at it. They take it away from you, charge you with a crime, and then they're more than happy to help you get a bus ticket out of town then. Beforehand, no. They don't want to help you. They're not interested in helping you. So then when you're assaulted in one of these facilities and you defend yourself because you are that scared, then the police come in. You're drugged out of your fucking mind. You have barely the ability to speak. And they put these B-52 injections into you and tell you that it's for your own good because you're being irate. No, you're being scared. You ever tell a rape victim who is hysterical about being raped, about it just happened or is still happening, and they're trying to tell you what's going on, and you tell them, what? You tell them that they're being irate and inject them with drugs? No, that is not acceptable. And you say, don't compare this to rape. Well, I've been raped, literally raped. And what they put you through for trying to tell on them is worse than rape. You are literally tortured for coming forward about the abuse that you have gone through. And these people don't care that it's abusive. And then they say, you're acting like a child. No, you're not acting like a child. You are acting like you're afraid, because you're afraid. And people say, you just want attention. No, I want help. I'm telling you what help I need. I need you to look at this evidence objectively. The place that I was at, right after being released from the hospital, they listened pretty decently. Except it was a program through the sheriff's department in Rapid City. And as soon as they realized that I was also talking about police, the people in that facility became very irate, very standoffish, very rude and inconsiderate, very snappy, acting very much like petulant children. See, that's the thing. If you were going to go and hold someone down and harm them with pressure points by crushing their ankle into the side of a bed, or crushing their elbow with an arm bar, hyperextending it and harming them, or slamming their chest down, slamming them down, when they're not being violent at all, they're begging for help and begging you to stop doing things that scare them and that hurt them and harm them, begging you not to put the drugs in them. Please listen to me instead of treating me this way. Take a look at the evidence instead of harming me and drugging me for begging you to look. Stop abusing me for being scared. I'm scared of these things for a reason, because this is protocol nationwide. Of course, it's different if you're a pretty white girl who comes from a rich family. Who cares? You come from a prominent family, they treat you much differently. Those drugs aren't going to be used on you. Those nurses are going to talk to you like you're a human being. That doctor will spend hours with you a day listening to what you have to say. Whereas me, in each one of these places, I saw the doctor for less than 5 minutes. In all of these places, each doctor, less than 5 minutes for the entire duration of my stay. Meanwhile, Levi, that was one of the guys at Rapid City, one of these psych techs, he admitted that his job is just to be a babysitter. When I was telling him what was going on, he just couldn't help but smile and let out a few little chuckles about it, because he thought it was funny. This is the America we live in, folks. It's the protocol that needs to change. When somebody is suicidal, there is a reason. Torturing them until they say they're not suicidal doesn't work. Taking away their ability to write it down. Let me tell you something. If I wanted to kill myself in any of these facilities, I could have easily just wadded up a bunch of toilet paper and stuffed it in my throat and asphyxiated. When I was in Rawlins, Wyoming, I could have choked myself to death with the wires from the wall. Why did I have access to the wires from the wall? Because they injected me with drugs. Drugs that tore my mind apart, and I tore their timeout room apart. Tore those wires out of the wall, and I put those around my throat. And nobody came in. They would have let me choke myself to death with the wires in that very facility. That's how broken the system is. But they'll take away your ability to use a pen or a pencil to write down what they just did to you. And then when the officer finally comes in to listen to what's going on, he's not there to listen. He's not there to take a report. The last officer I spoke with in the facility in Rapid City, he told me that it's being recorded on his body cam so I could make a statement. I'm like, dude, I'm fucked up on drugs that they injected me with. I don't think you're getting the point, sir. Acting like a child? No. When you're being tortured and you're scared, that is how you're going to react.